We've got a proposal for the Executive Board arising from the Standing Orders Committee to change the way that the Congress sessions are going to be run. We find we have hundreds and perhaps thousands of delegates to that conference sitting in a room for many days on end, hearing a series of speeches from people who they violently agree with on topics that they have no argument with, on policies which are terrific. However, they make no contribution, they don't draw anything from it. That the World Congress and also the regional congresses for that matter need to be more interactive, and they need to be more effective in planning and implementing the PSI's program of action. We are significantly changing the usual standing orders. We compress the formal procedures of the Congress, whereby the delegates to the Congress can analyse the program of action and come up with plans for its implementation locally. Those proposals would then be brought back to the Congress, generally seeking the Congress's endorsement. We tried to do that at the last Asia Pacific Congress, that it was one of the best congresses that they've been to and one of the most productive congresses. There was a great appreciation of the format that we adopted. We brought in outside expertise as well as people who have challenges that they could present to us about the way we work. We brought in members of our affiliates who had actually been involved in the application of PSI policy. We brought in experience of a very young union organiser from our New Zealand public sector affiliate. That person didn't stick to the typical script that you would expect. That person showed us some of the threats to organising and the difficulties of organising ordinary young workers, whether they're in the public sector or not. He was able to talk to us about what are the realities on the ground and what you need to do in order to convince young workers to join. And we brought in persons who were experts in organising. We specifically wanted to deal with, in the privatisation session, the practice and the effect of privatisation and what union responses can be made to it. How can a public sector union respond to privatisation, particularly when the challenge is to organise workers who work for a major multinational security company who is known to be hostile to unions and relies on its power to intimidate the employees. We find delegates reciting the litany of horrors that are attendant upon insecure work or the activities of multinational companies or the finance industry. What we try to do is to substitute that activity with an activity that talks about how you organise within and how you bring about mechanisms to provide for secure work or decent work, as opposed to having a meeting where we condemn insecure work. With the issue of free trade and globalisation and the international financial crisis, we brought in people who were active campaigners for fair trade against the free trade agenda. We were very keen to make sure that we had those people contributing so that they could give us ideas for partnerships that unions could work with those other organisations around the world who are campaigning for the sorts of policies that we support. And I think that was the added value to the workshop, and that the workshop provided, which then helps us with developing further policies. The challenge is you must plan, and you must plan very carefully for that sort of conference or that sort of congress to happen. You must plan to make sure the participants actually contribute and actually draw something out of it, and that the Congress itself actually makes concrete plans as to what to do, how it's going to be done, and who is going to do it. And those decisions really must come from the Congress participants. You must plan for that to happen, because it will not happen if you send an invitation and you don't tell the people who are coming why they're there, what they're expecting to do, and what they're expecting to achieve.
I'd like to recognise the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today and pay my respects to elders past and present.